Daniel Rickenmann was sworn in as mayor of Columbia in January of this year after being elected the new mayor of the capital city in November of 2021. I talked one-on-one with him about how the job is going right now for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Mayor Daniel Rickenmann, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Obviously, you are the newly elected mayor of the city of Columbia, and I know that you were sworn in as a mayor back in January. What is the biggest difference between right now, well, from January to right now, when you think of mayor of Columbia, Mayor?
I think it's the last 6 months have been just really incredible. I had opportunities really to sit down with folks from all across our communities, not just business folks, but neighborhood folks, activists, community leaders, all wanting to come to the table and work together on to improve the quality of life in general for all of our citizens. And there's a sense of energy right now. People are excited. They understand that, yes, we have hurdles, but each one of those hurdles is an opportunity. And so, working with a newly elected council, we have basically four new people on council, 3 new, and obviously a new mayor, which hasn't happened in Columbia in, I think, 4 decades, maybe longer. So, I think this is a very unique time, and people are embracing that, which is exciting. If you look at cities of our size, capital cities, major universities and colleges, people forget we got 6 colleges and universities here. We got 60,000 students. We have Fort Jackson, all of these assets. And you start putting all that energy together and you realize that's how these other capital cities have got double-digit growth. If it's Austin, Raleigh, Tampa, Nashville, you name it, that's what we're seeing. So we're excited about that.
Yes, indeed. And what hurdles are you actually turning into opportunities right now?
So, part of it is we're working on this tax modernization. In South Carolina, we have a very unique tax structure when it comes to property tax. The homeowner is very well off. Does the low, probably the number one lowest property tax. But commercial property, meaning non-owner occupied, so that includes rental properties, commercial properties, industrial properties, is almost the highest in the country. And that's a deterrent. And what's crazy about it is that in our community in the Midlands, we're so much higher than our sister cities like Charleston and Greenville. We're talking about 38 to 48% difference. And that affects investment. But it also affects home ownership, affordability, and so we lost 9% of our population over the last decade. That affected us at the State House, where we lost a Senate seat and a House seat. We've lost neighborhoods, particularly historic African-American neighborhoods have declined in population. So one of the things that we want to make sure is that if we can fix the tax structure, we can get more obtainable and create pathways to home ownership. And I'll tell you why that's important is because in a city of Columbia, so we have about 46,000 homes within the city. 27,000 of those are rented. So we don't even have 47% of our homes that are owned by home ownership. So we want to increase that because we want to rebuild neighborhoods. And taking advantage of everything from the infrastructure grants to the HUD programs that we haven't had in the past to really create these paths. Why that's important? It's the quickest way to create generational wealth. And it's the best way to keep people rooted in a community. And so, we're taking down 68 homes down and incentivizing people to go back and rebuild and create single family homes and get people back into the neighborhoods and integrated into the community, which is very important because of that population that we've lost.
Now, how many single family homes do you have right now in Columbia, Maria?
So we got about 46,000, but it's a little over 46,000. But part of the issue, obviously, is the majority of those are rented, which is, look, you got a lot of folks who don't want home ownership, but we also want to make sure the people who do want home ownership have the ability to live downtown, that they don't have to go to the suburbs or out into rural areas to achieve that because of cost factors, and obviously inflation and lumber costs are playing into that. So anything that we can do to reduce that through regulation, lot sizes, incentives with, we fought with the state a lot too on making sure the incentives for affordable housing stay in place, because they had a reno tax credit of 4%, but a new construction 9%, and very important that we have a balance of both.
Yes, sir. And talk to me about those incentives that you want the developers to bring in when they come and develop in the city of Columbia.
Well, I think one of the things that we've been working with the development team is to cut down the red tape, make it easier for people to get in, because then time is money, obviously. What was kind of shocking to me was meeting with the Home Builders Association and understanding that 20% of all construction costs are dictated by regulation. So were there things that we could do to lower that cost? And then the second part to that is could we take advantage of HUD money to help down payments and other opportunities to bridge the gaps that are in between home ownership? And we're working on, so the city owns probably about 35 residential lots. We are working right now with a mortgage company and a builder to go and build on all of these lots and push home ownership. And our Columbia Housing Authority has an academy or a learning program where they get people set up so that they can move from a public housing opportunity to home ownership. And the mortgage payment, the insurance and taxes are less than what they would pay in rent. So they have an opportunity to build wealth. And so we're really pushing that program and using our land as equity for that project. So that reduces their mortgage costs. So that's our contribution to try to really build up those areas.
And what other areas do you want to build up with those particular opportunities?
So we have a Belmont neighborhood
yes.
Where we have 19 lots. We're going to take a portion of those lots and build a pocket park, because there's about 9 neighborhoods that are connected there, and there are a couple of affordable housing complexes that don't have a place to have a picnic or to get outside and exercise in a walking trail, things that the neighborhood want to have opportunities for people to spend more time outdoors and take advantage of amenities in their neighborhood. Booker Washington Heights, which is one of our most historic African American neighborhoods, was called the mini Wall Street really at one point because of the shops and the investments there, doctors, they were lawyers. We just finished paving all the roads there. We're tearing down 10 houses there that were burned or were condemned, and then incentivizing those owners through different programs to rebuild and get families in those homes. Working with the neighborhood association there, and St. John's, the church there, has created a development corp. And one of the things we were able to do is get them a grant so that they could hire local youth to help beautify the community, from litter pickup, plantings, things to enhance the quality of life so that people see that things can be improved, and hopefully that will get then to the next person and trying to figure out programs to help people get jobs available in Columbia, South Carolina than there have ever been. But some people don't understand the interview process or don't have access on how to do an interview online. So, taking advantage of incentivizing different groups. Actually, when I leave this interview, I'm headed to go look at a building where we're trying to work with a community development group and some private partners to create a skilled training center so that we can help. We want to target, there's youth between 18 and 24 that are struggling. And unfortunately, the majority of the shootings that we've had in our community have been between 18 and 20-year-old males. So how do we get them into a skilled training center where they could go work for like a Sea Hut Boats, which is here in Columbia, that's hiring and has a great reputation of taking care of their employees. But apprenticeships, working with different companies and hospitals. MUSC wants to commit to an apprenticeship program where they can teach folks how to be techs. They need more techs in the hospital system. So they're willing to help so that you're getting paid to learn at the same time. Midlands Tech right now is offering free tuition for all these programs. So getting the word out to folks in the neighborhood and getting them opportunities that are already here and setting them up for success.
Now, Mayor, you talked earlier about trying to get more people to come to downtown Columbia, which I was there just a week ago, and obviously I love it as much as I can come back. But tell me, how many more people do you want to come to live actually in the downtown area?
Well, I think if you look at a lot of the successful cities, growth center, having people downtown is important. We have about 3,000 residents that live downtown. But if Raleigh has 9 to 10,000, and then you look at, you see what's happened to Austin, but
right.
We need vertical growth, surveying. So I've met with a lot of the recent grads, seniors in college from the different universities and including, meeting with students at Benedict and Allen and Columbia College and the seminary, because we created this committee where representatives from all those schools are meeting in the mayor's office to help us figure out what do we do to better integrate the students here so they become more ingrained to what opportunities are here and want to stay here instead of going to Charlotte, Nashville, Greenville, Atlanta. But one of the things that was saying is that they need housing options downtown. They need apartment living where they can take part in what's going on downtown. And there's not as many options because we've limited vertical growth. And I think that's where we're really pushing. And if we can be smart about it, we can have workforce housing. We can have, housing for young folks who are first starting off, but also affordable options as well. And if you look at Charlotte as a great example, they're downtown. When you look at a lot of the housing that's built, they have commercial at the bottom and they have housing at the top. Well, all of that housing, you don't know who's what, but all you know is that all the units are done very nicely, and it's obtainable pricing that people can be downtown, which then feeds all the service industry that's downtown. It allows the retail to grow, and it creates a center. We have such great things as the development of Main Street and the Soda City, but now we got opportunities on North Main. Where else in America? I mean, really think about this, where you could go and be a small business guy or a young investor and have an address on Main Street, and you could look out the window and see the State House, and it's still affordable. There's not a lot of places. But we got to attract those folks for them to tell us. We haven't told our story. That's our biggest problem. We don't tell our story, and we have such a great one to tell.
Yes. I was just there. Matter of fact, I was just there a week ago for the Black Expo. I think I missed you by a couple of hours, but downtown is always thriving. But let me ask you, how does? Yes, sir. But how do you allow?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. Sorry about the delay there, and it is this technology. But how do you grow the city of Columbia with that vertical growth for downtown?
Well, I think several things. One, by eliminating the red tape, the unnecessary red tape, and making it easier, empowering our staff with technology and training so that things don't have to go to committees and get delayed, and make it easier. Like we're taking away all the parking requirements for any building under 7,500 square feet anywhere in the city. Because when you look around, we've created all these parking lots. Well, there should be buildings there, and people use parking decks and other alternatives so that it becomes walkable and connectable. We have all these gaps. Our two prominent corners are parking lots because we've incentivized parking instead of getting people into interior decks and walking and using, a walkable community, making it easy. If you're living downtown, walk 4 blocks, don't drive 4 blocks. Incentivizing people to utilize the pathways, the sidewalks, and the investments we've made, but really going out after development teams. Because today's recruiting is very interesting. It used to be you recruited businesses and specific industries. Today, you're going after development teams because they have the relationship, and so they're bringing the tenants. but showing folks what we have to offer. All the opportunities for growth downtown, vertical growth, lifting the restrictions on height so that we can get more density, which means we can have more affordable units. That means we get more younger people and workforce downtown. So we don't want to be at a place where we have to push all the workforce out of town and they're commuting, because then we start losing them. You see the challenges that are happening in other cities where it's become a real issue for workforce, not only at the city level, but all the commercial and his hospitality and retail. And so that's very important if you want to have a vibrant community.
And how many affordable units do you want to bring to the downtown Columbia area?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, Quintin, we need 6,700 units right now across the city. And that means not just downtown, but in our different neighborhoods to satisfy the need we have. Long term, we're probably talking about 18,000 units. So taking advantage of different HUD programs, leveraging them with private sector developments, and making sure that we have a mixed bag. I mean, we need affordable options and just options for seniors as well. We got a growing senior population. A lot of folks want to get out of their house because they want less maintenance. They want aging in place, I guess is the new term. How do we get more of that? Some of that needs to be downtown, but some of them need to be in our neighborhoods, because people are very comfortable being around. And I think of my grandmother, for example, when she was ready to give up her house, she wanted an apartment in the neighborhood near her house because that's where her support system was. That's what she knew. She knew the grocer. She knew how to get her dry cleaning, her banking, her relationships are there. They don't want to start all over. They want to have that same, they just don't want all the headache of being home ownership. So making sure we're addressing all the segments, our young millennials, our first-time home buyers, our young workforce attainable, and then our seniors. So when you put all those together, we're talking about 18,000 units.
And this is a redundant question, Mayor, but what current private and public partnerships would you be in favor for expanding infrastructure in your city?
Well, I think for us to grow and for us to maintain, we're going to have to do more private and public partnerships. I think you've seen that as a trend all the way across the U.S. I had an opportunity to attend some meetings with some other mayors in Omaha, Nebraska, and they have $450 million downtown infrastructure and public park system being built. $50 million from the city, the rest of it from public and private partnerships. So it's a growing trend on, some of it's philanthropy, some of it's private funding to allow these projects to happen so the city's not tied down in all its capital, and it has a way. Well, what's happening is then those things are encouraging more growth. So what was interesting there is they're taking the public library and are able to build a brand new facility, $190 million facility. But in that footprint is Mutual of Omaha moving from the outskirts to downtown and building $1 billion campus. So think about what that does to the tax base. Think about what that does for restaurants, retail, downtown living. It changes. And all of that, when the center grows, the rest of the city and the region grows. And I think one of the things that you'll see here is that we're really trying to work regionally with the other mayors, if it's Eastover to
Right. Right.
Look, employer, we all pull together as a group to achieve that.
Yes, indeed. And what is the current tax base right now in the city of Columbia?
Columbia is interesting. For years, we said the non-tax-paying entities were overtaking and it was causing us trouble. But when you take Fort Jackson out, which is about 34% from a land mass, but we don't provide them service, we're about 34%, which is about 10% more than Greenville and Charleston. Because people forget they have universities, they have government offices, they have a lot of the same things we have. Our struggle is that we got to focus on capping out our property tax on our non-owner occupied properties.